Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top 3 Pen series. My name is Appelboom and every Monday we post a new video about the personal top 3 pens of penfluencers. If you don't want to miss out on the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel now. He may not be the most famous pen reviewer, but with more than 200 YouTube reviews on his channel, he's definitely a great source of knowledge. I'm talking, of course, about Rob from Fountain Pen Journey, who has been reviewing pens for over 3 years now. His main focus is on affordable pens, so I'm pretty sure many of you will have one or several pens from his top 3 in your collection. Let's have a look.
Hello, Rob from Fountain Pen Journey in a video collaboration with Appelboom, which is fantastic. So thank you very much to Appelboom for inviting me along to your YouTube channel. If you don't know me already, I'm Rob from Fountain Pen Journey, and I tend to review the cheaper end fountain pens, the lower cost fountain pens. Lots of them. Rather than spending a huge amount of money on one pen, I spend a huge amount of money on hundreds of pens. So that's where I came from. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is talk about my three fountain pens that mean something to me personally. I'm not going to talk about my top 3 pens or my 3 favourite pens, different subject altogether, but these are 3 fountain pens that actually mean something to me, probably not mean something to everybody. So let's start off by looking at the pens. Now, I started Fountain Pen Journey in July 2017. I watched a YouTube video. There is a technology reviewer who I watch his videos fairly regularly, and he was covering something like top 10 items that cost less than $10 on Amazon. And I thought, oh, watch that, see what there is. And there was a few gadgets in there, but there was a fountain pen. And I never wanted to know about fountain pens. I used them when I was at school, never got on with them, lost all interest in the whole idea of using a fountain pen. But that pen in his video really caught my attention. And it was one of these. Jinhao 1200 Dragon fountain pen. Admittedly his was the gold version, but I went for the silver. And as soon as I saw this fountain pen, this glitzy, completely over the top writing instrument, I wanted one. I really wanted one. So I got myself straight onto Amazon and ordered one, and not really understanding what I was going to do with it, but I wanted to use one of these fountain pens, the Jinhao 1200 Dragon pen, at work, in meetings, because I thought, you know what, this is not going to be a pen that you can ignore, and it really isn't. It's very over the top, and I absolutely loved the idea of having one of these. So this was my first ever fountain pen purchase on my own fountain pen journey. And I know some people could say, well, it's a fountain pen collection. No, I'm a user. I use fountain pens. I use them at work and I use them at home, and I use them a lot. And I love them. I love the different varieties you can get and the different styles. I mean, obviously this is quite a glitzy, over the top, rather... I don't think I would use this in a meeting now. But it's unique. There isn't anything quite like this pen. There are other Jinhao fountain pens which are very much the same, or sometimes even worse. But this is one of those pens that had to be in my repertoire, and I was never under any impression that I would turn this one pen into a fountain pen collection, but this pen is where it all started from. So I'm very thankful for discovering this fountain pen, because this is where I began my fountain pen journey. So this is a key cornerstone fountain pen, one which I will never part with, because it's the thing that started all of this, which I absolutely love this hobby. I mentioned that I started off on the lower cost and I mainly review the lower cost cheaper fountain pens, but there are some times that I do more expensive pens. However, number 2 on my list of 3 fountain pens that I will never part with is this. And it's an inexpensive pen. The Parker Vector with its arrow clip, plastic fountain pen, plastic and metal fountain pen. Why the Parker Vector? This is a cheap pen. This is a pen that's almost disposable. I mean, if you lose it, you're not going to be heartbroken. However, I was once upon a time heartbroken at the loss of one of these pens. It was admittedly a ballpoint pen, Parker Vector. Way back in the early to mid 1980s, when I was growing up, I really enjoyed my blue Parker Vector ballpoint pen. It was a wonderful pen to write with, and I loved it. And it was one of those things, I didn't even know it was a Parker Vector. I was too young, didn't understand it. But the Parker Vector fountain pen, when I began to explore further into my fountain pen journey, I thought, you know what, I've got to try a Parker Vector, and they're really, really good value. They write well, the nibs are good quality. For the price, I mean, you're talking less than $10 for one of these pens, and it's brilliant. It's really, really good, really reliable fountain pens. Knockabout cheap, push cap, solid writers, affordable, attractive range of colours. You can even get a stainless steel version, the metal version if you prefer something a bit more robust, heavy, things like that. But the Parker Vector is an excellent fountain pen, and it's my Parker Vector, even though it was a ballpoint, was the pen that I remember getting me through the 80s, through those years of all sorts of stuff going on. Late 20th century, there was all sorts of history being made, and it was a fascinating time, and I wrote an awful lot with my Parker Vector. I drew, I sketched, I did anatomical diagrams of insects, things like that, all with my Parker Vector. So this was a fountain pen, or was a ballpoint pen, but now a fountain pen, that I have a really, really soft spot in my heart for the Parker Vector. Excellent fountain pen, and just something that's part of my own history. Which leads me on to my third pen. Now this list was difficult to compile, because I could have talked about how the Parker Vector's modern, contemporary, late 20th century design element carried over into certain other things, because I do have an appreciation of 20th century design, architecture, things like that. And my next pen was almost this, the Diplomat Arrow. Very nearly became that, but it doesn't mean anything to me. It's an excellent fountain pen, available in a range of colours, but doesn't mean anything to me personally. What meant more personally to me was this, the Lamy 2000. Excellent fountain pen, but once again, I love the Bauhaus design, so it's very 20th century award-winning design, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything to me. But another Lamy fountain pen does, and it's a very attractive metal pen. And this is the Lamy Studio in Imperial Blue. It's available in other colours. It's an all metal fountain pen, and you can get ballpoint version as well. And it's got a matte finish to the barrel and the cap. Push cap, nice, decently wide, long metal section. Really, really nice pen. Somewhat different in the fact that the Lamy Studio has got this propeller oar-shaped clip, which is actually, it's one of those things that you actually think, with the design of this, it's a strange and rather unique clip, but I actually really, really like it. And I think the Lamy Studio is one of these fountain pens it's not massively expensive at all, but it's quite understated. The clip kind of distinguishes it away from other fountain pens. So why do I love this particular pen so much? Well, the reason for that being was that this was my first fountain pen that cost more than £50, $50. And it was the first fountain pen that my wife bought me on my fountain pen journey. Way back in Christmas 2017, and there is nothing more to it. There is no engraving, there's nothing else, but I remember saying to my wife, please, I'm really into fountain pens, it's a new thing, and what budget are we spending on each other for Christmas? And we put a budget in, and I said, well, can you go to a retailer somewhere and buy some fountain pens and inks, different things, you know, your choice, pick me something, and I would love to see what you buy me. And this was one of the items that she bought. There were a lot of inks in the order, a couple of other fountain pens as well, but this was the standout, and this really is a beautiful colour. The Imperial blue is a very nice blue coloured metal version of the Lamy Studio. Metal version, it is a metal pen. So there we have it. This pen really does mean something to me, because this was my wife's involvement in the early days of fountain pen journey, and it's a beautiful pen, and one that I will always treasure. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.